Hello and welcome to the studio.
Please, there are people listening to this for the first time, Jim. They need to know what show they're listening to.
Hello and welcome to The Studio Demands It, an exercise in creative thinking where we will conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film or series based on the demands or stipulations from one of you, listeners, acting as a hypothetical Hollywood overlord.
Overlord!
As professional screenwriters ourselves and massive cinephiles, we talk movies all the time.
All the time.
We'd like to believe we can meet any demand thrown at us. We will be your screenwriters for this episode. I am Jim Brzelik, and joining me, as always, is TC middle name DeWitt.
Hey, no, I put a middle name in there.
Yeah, no, you had me saying your name.
April Fools.
And
it is fun to do the Overlord all the time. But no, what's the middle name, Jim?
You said my name is Jim Rule Breaker Brzelik.
The Rule Breaker. I knew that was your middle name. I know you've been denying it all this time. But you are a man who breaks rules.
It's true.
You are a man that when told in...
I only learn them so that I can break them.
Well, that is the proper way to break the rules.
It's true.
That's like people who try to write...
That's the rule about breaking rules.
That is the one rule to follow about breaking rules. Quentin Tarantino knows how to write a story linear. He just knows how to then break that. Mm-hmm. But you are the kind of person who is told in school to not write a park bench play and then immediately writes a toll booth play.
Yep, I did that.
Is it unicorns and like what is
in a one act play?
Mm-hmm.
Don't have too many characters. You can have like 4 or 5. But I wrote I think in mine I wrote 15 in my one act play.
15 in a one act.
Yeah,
not like a 10-minute play.
I did work it out so that like there's 3 main characters, and then all of the ancillary characters are played by, I think I got it down to 3 actors could technically do everyone else. But yeah, there's it was called If, not the movie coming out, Imaginary Friend. Mm-hmm. Not that. It was basically about a guy who kept imagining different ways a scenario would play out as his family was breaking down. His wife was sick and tired of the excuses and sacrifices he would make for his brother, who kept getting in trouble and is brought to his door one evening by the police.
Oh, that needed 15 characters?
Yeah. Because they're awakened in the middle of the night by the doorbell ringing.
Yeah.
And the very first thing is, who could this be? And 3 different scenarios play out as to who's behind the door. and several scenarios play out like at several points through the play.
So, and then did you get good marks for breaking the rules? Even though you broke the rules, was your professor like, good job?
Not as good as Toll Booth. Not as good as my park bench.
Well, the reason I bring this up is because a rule was recently discussed through and has been making the rounds during the press junket.
You remembered the thing.
I did.
I didn't remember the thing.
I had made a physical bookmark for us to come back to this, and I wanted to save it to discuss on the podcast because we're going to be walking on thin ice here because just more of a personal preference of not wanting to use a whipping boy here, but it's just more of a discussion point that I find interesting because sometimes you disagree with someone and then other times you find yourself on the same side of an argument. And that's why this comes up. So Batman can't kill, right? So Batman can't kill is canon. So I'm like, the first thing I want to do when you say that is that I want to see what happens if Batman kills. Zack Snyder.
So, that sounds like there's a disorder. It's called oppositional something disorder. It's where like you just instinctively are compelled
to break
rules to do the things you're told not to do.
Well, maybe it's what you have as well, because I saw that quote and it immediately made me think of you and how when a teacher tells you don't write poems about unicorns and rainbows, you're like, watch me.
Yeah.
Don't write a park bench play with 2 characters. Okay, now I want to.
I would like to believe, at least what I tell myself is, especially in a classroom setting, I do that because I want to understand the rule.
Sure. Okay. Okay. So you don't find yourself on the same side of the argument of you're told a hero can't do something, so now you just want to do that.
No, I do. I do that.
Yeah.
I have a little bit of that.
So we speak critically of analytically, I would say,
Sure.
of some of the choices made within some of the franchises that we hold as beloved franchises. And Zack Snyder is certainly one that has been this talking point for over a decade now, based on how he chose to interpret some of the characters that
Mm-hmm.
we hold so dear. And the Batman no kill rule was we've talked about this before, like what characters can kill, what characters shouldn't kill, and what's a hero versus a vigilante or an anti-hero.
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing him say that, I totally get where he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
That someone says, hey, Batman can't kill. Well, okay, now I want to do it. But then at the same time, I don't think that is someone who should be handed Batman, right?
Sure.
So I just wanted to know, what is your thoughts to agreeing with Zack Snyder and wanting to kill?
Yeah. I think so. The thing is, because I have spent a lot of think space thinking about this exact topic of Batman's no kill rule,
Mm-hmm.
when he should or should not follow that, and when he has or has not followed it. Because Zack Snyder's not the first person to use Batman to kill.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
I think because it's a part of his character for him to say, "Oh, I'm going to make him do it now."
Right.
It should be a central element to the character.
I agree. And it is a central element of the character. And every time this
I guess to the I'm sorry, not to the character, to the story, right? Like, okay, you want to tell a story where Batman kills, this entire story is going to be about that decision.
Okay, I see. And
that's not what Batman's role in Batman vs Superman and Justice League. It wasn't about Batman struggling, wrestling with this moral quandary.
Yeah.
Well,
I think.
But no, granted that even that is me. That's why I'm almost more of a rule bender because of that. Because that's really more of bending the rule. Like, I'm going to have him think about this instead of just being like, no, I want to have him kill. Bang, bang, bang. Right? Like,
yeah.
Oh, Batman has guns now? Yeah, he had guns originally.
He's had guns before. And therein lies the point that I like to point to in conversations about Batman and Superman. Like, when this conversation comes up, there's inevitably very quickly going to be an argument about he's actually, he actually has killed before. Batman actually has killed. Superman actually has killed before. And I say to you, I'm going to give you 1,000 Punisher comic books. And I want you to open to a page where Punisher kills someone. You're probably going to find that pretty quickly. Now, I'm going to give you 1,000 Superman comics and 1,000 Batman comics. And I want you to find those instances in those comics. That's it. There it is right there. That shows how important it is that the character is built, like what the character is built upon and how important that is.
Sure.
So people who want to be like, actually he has. Great. Okay.
Cool.
The rare occasions where a writer has come along and found a way to do this.
Or those writers had the same inkling that Zack Snyder did. Well, yeah. I want to break the rules. I want to make him do the thing.
And truth be told, there is an art to breaking the rules.
There is.
There's an art to subverting the tropes of something, which is how we got The Watchmen. Like, taking what we know is to be true and then shining a different light upon it. So I think it's good. I think it was a lesson to many to have Zack Snyder present his versions of these characters. And it wasn't The Boys, and it wasn't Rising Supreme Power from Marvel. It was Batman and Superman and Cyborg and Aquaman. Like, he created these versions so definitively to be part of the conversation forever. And I think that's a good thing, because it creates the discourse, intelligent discourse ideally. Sure has created a lot of shitty discourse where it's just people bitching and moaning, and I'm going to curse a few more times. But I think
Who are you and what have you done with TC? Coming around saying that this edition is good?
No.
I'm actually, that brings to light the entire thing that you read an article about Zack Snyder.
Listen, this goes to another point of a conversation. Back to Batman. We wouldn't have gotten Batman Begins if we didn't get Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin is a very critical film in the cinematic library of Batman.
This is all true. I'm not done here. A cardinal rule of TC has been written in the writer of the podcast has broken a rule about the character of TC. TC just cannot stand anything Zack Snyder.
That is not true. That's not
and the
true.
rule has been broken.
Things are changing, Jim. I'm willing to evolve. I'm willing to change my opinion and learn more. And I think it's good that we get versions of characters, not to this extent, to the point where people think this is the best version. I'll never agree with that. This is not the best version of Superman. This is not the best version of Batman. Even if someone says, well, it's my favorite version. Well, you have bad taste. Like, I'm still going to go there. But it's just this fascinating piece of pop culture that it's over a decade now of this conversation.
Yeah.
Like, people still talk about Tim Burton's Batman in conversations like this. And I think, unfortunately or fortunately, this conversation will exist forever.
That Batman used vehicle-mounted guns.
So yeah, there's a discussion of rule breaking, and I just wanted to get that there. I would like to recommend Alex Lennon, Lennen, on YouTube. He's got a great channel where he does hour-long documentaries on characters. He has a great one on the history of Batman. He has a great one on the entire history of Spider-Man. Cool. And it's publication history and all the stories. So if you've ever wondered everything from issue 1, from even the inception of issue 1 to today, for some of the most iconic comic book characters, it's a great YouTube channel. Like I'm going to recommend it to you.
All right, there you go.
In fact, I have. But you know what, Jim? Let's move on. Let's get to the demand of the day, which might have us breaking some rules. We shall see. Uh-oh. So today's demand comes from Pinky Girl at Cute Fuzzy Slippers Studios. Hello, Pinky Girl. With Godzilla and Kong and kaiju movies coming out pretty much every other year now, the genre has done more than enough monster stomps around and people scream and try to fight with it. Much like the Fast and the Furious, you can only do so many stories revolving around one idea. You need to change the game if you expect people to keep buying tickets. And with superhero fatigue not quite going anywhere, a cinematic team-up monsterverse is not the way to go. The studio demands a new Godzilla movie that isn't just monster attacks and the government and people try to survive and stop it. And like your beloved Fast and the Furious, the road to take is obvious. My studio demands that you pitch a heist movie set in a Godzilla movie.
Okay.
Thank you, Pinky. So I grabbed this knowing that it was Godzilla related.
Okay.
I took pause when I saw Fast and the Furious because I was real worried this demand was about to tell us to combine the two movies. That's where I thought this was going as I was reading it here. But I grabbed it because it was Godzilla related, and that's the extent at which I knew it. I thought this was going to be like a Godzilla Kong demand.
Sure.
But no, Jim. The studio, Pinky Girl, has demanded that we pitch a heist movie set in a Godzilla movie. Now,
okay.
One of the common complaints, and I've been here before, that the thing that is like dumb about some of the Godzilla movies is we spend too much time with the humans. It's like, show me the monster. And I get that you have to build up to that. Godzilla -1 is all about the humans and is one of my favorite movies of the year. Top 5 easy of 2024. Wow, what an incredible film. And it's all about the humans.
And those original movies were all about the humans.
Yeah.
And that's why it spawned those genres, and it's why we have that complaint, because the follow-up filmmakers were trying to evoke the original thing, and when the concept just isn't landing, just show us the monster.
Yeah, like we don't care about these people. We don't care. We as preparation to discuss Godzilla, Jim and I watched the 1998 Roland Emmerich Godzilla,
We sure did.
starring Matthew Broderick, and you can catch that commentary over on our Patreon if you're interested. But long story short, wasn't as bad as we remembered it, or you'd never seen it.
I'd never seen it.
Wasn't as bad as I remembered it,
and it wasn't as bad as it was made out to be.
but still kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. The shocking thing we discovered was that the first 30 minutes of it, pretty good.
It moved at a good clip.
Yeah, set up all the characters, set up the premise, set up the location, pretty good, and then it sort of fell apart after that.
And then Godzilla shows up, and it's not good. And then they finish with that. Godzilla disappears inexplicably for a little while, and it gets real boring.
Yeah,
it gets real boring.
And
then Godzilla comes back.
It's because it spends too much time with the humans, and then when Godzilla comes back, like, oh,
yeah,
maybe this isn't as bad.
A little bit of excitement again.
So, and Pinky's not wrong here. There's been a plethora of kaiju movies. If you want to call Kong kaiju, fine. But like Pacific Rim, I have not seen, but I know you have opinions about Monsters, the Gareth Edwards movie.
I do.
That it's a. I have not seen it. It's not a heist movie, is it?
No.
Okay, good.
It is also this is a hot take because of how beloved Gareth Edwards seems to be.
Mm-hmm.
It is also a boring time where we spend too much time with the humans.
Well, what we're being asked here, though,
there's 2 or 3 decent scenes in the whole thing, and they're I don't think they're worth the price of entry.
Noted. I'm curious if anyone has seen that movie because it's pretty indie. 2010.
Yeah.
He put a splash on the radar that led to him getting Rogue One. So good for him there, and he did The Creator recently. So take that for what it's worth. But what we're being asked here is to write the story of Humans, which is a heist movie. That's a pretty interesting setting.
So I feel like if it was any kaiju, like if it has to be Godzilla, there's a different conversation to have. If I could see doing a heist during a giant monster attack, and there's a lot of sort of general generic fun in that. But if the demand says we have to use Godzilla, that tells me it's more than just following these people in this insane scenario.
Yeah.
We need to color this scenario with Godzilla in particular.
Okay. You're right. I didn't interpret it that way. I did just think, okay, rob a bank or rob something, steal something during a kaiju attack. But you're right. It does say a Godzilla movie, so therefore we have to find ways to put in the essentials of a Godzilla movie as well as a heist. Okay.
Yeah. Well, because that's going to be the thing. It's not just going to. There has to be a reason that it's Godzilla and not just giant monster.
Giant monster, correct? Yeah. Well, but the first thing that comes to my mind is heists have to be planned, not a robbery. She says heist. Heists have to be planned and executed. Part of that needs to be accounting for a Godzilla attack, right? If a heist is meant to be orchestrated and pulled off, and part of that is we do this when Godzilla attacks, that's going to have to be part of the plot here, part of the premise of how do you plan. Like, okay, we just spoken about Zack Snyder, a heist movie set in a zombie-infested Las Vegas, pretty solid premise. Execution up for debate, but that's a solid premise, and it exists. It's a heist within a zombie film. It follows tropes for both. Great. Having to follow the tropes of Godzilla in a heist movie now is the question here.
So I guess first, what makes a Godzilla movie different from other giant monster movies?
They have Godzilla.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess that speaks to a broader point of like, how many Godzilla movies have you seen in your life? Like, are you enough of a fan?
I think I've seen 4.
Okay. Was one with the little baby Godzilla?
If I saw the baby Godzilla one, it was when I was much, much younger and remember very little about it.
Well, okay. So
unless you mean Roland Emmerich's Godzilla, which has baby Godzillas.
So many baby Godzillas. So, like, when you think about Godzilla movies, like, some of them are just him, and others are him fighting something. Like, there are other enemies of Godzilla, like,
Yeah.
within the MonsterVerse, because Godzilla is a hero ultimately in some of these movies. Like the most recent versions we've watched, 2014. There's Kong Skull Island, Godzilla versus Kong, or no,
He's not in Skull Island.
oh right, that's just King Kong. And then there's the new Godzilla X Kong that's coming out. And you watched the Kurt Russell, Wyatt Russell series, right?
I've only seen the first episode or two, Monarch.
Oh, Monarch, okay.
Monarch is crazy good. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least one episode in there that is a heist.
Oh, all
so
right.
maybe the work is done.
Well, thank you for listening, everybody. Hope you let us know how that episode goes. All right, so like, okay, just blanket statements of Godzilla movies. A monster rampage. Godzilla, the massive monster, battles, destructive rampage through the city, buildings being demolished, vehicles being crushed, citizens fleeing in terror. Classic. Okay. There's human drama within the franchise. They're always alongside the action. Godzilla, they incorporate like human characters dealing with the consequences of the monster attack. And it's often scientists and governments. There's usually like military people attempting to combat the monsters, or civilians trying to survive. Could be a point right there of like Godzilla attacking a city more than once, rampages it once, and in the aftermath, he will be back. Let's now plan the heist.
So sort of. So here's that's actually pretty close to what I'm already putting together in my brain.
I'll keep listing the tropes of Godzilla if you want to keep hearing them.
You have a list there?
I'm going off the top of the dome here.
Oh dang!
I've seen some Godzilla movies, Jim, more than you.
Oh,
4 probably.
That's what I said.
5 then.
Oh.
There's usually like scientists or like pseudoscientific explanation for Godzilla's existence and the behavior of Godzilla or the monsters. Usually radiation, like 9 times out of 10.
I can't remember the name of the defense force that's put together, that the humans put together to fend off Godzilla and the other monsters. I don't remember if the Global Defense Force, the GDF, is from Godzilla or from an anime or from something else.
I think it's just usually just military of some sort. I don't know if
it's not, because even in Godzilla -1, the citizen group that's put together, I might be misremembering this, I thought was a reference to in the Godzilla movies,
they're like the Special Forces scientific unit,
but they are very specifically a civilian force. So it's and that's the reason I contend a military force.
Okay.
They end up having military equipment, but it is the whole point to the force is not as a national army of some kind. It is specifically a group put together to defend against giant monsters.
Okay. I don't know if there's a specific name for that throughout the franchise, so let's just say that.
Well, I'm going to say there is.
Great. That's fine.
So my notion is in the opening of the movie, like a lot of the opening movie is a montage of the history of Godzilla attacking and this group trying to sort of track Godzilla and predict where Godzilla is going to go next to do stuff, and they get pretty sophisticated with it, and thus that's the setup and impetus for our movie. Is we learn pretty quickly. We would probably meet some people, and then this warning would kind of go out.
It's probably just Monarch, right? Like that's the name of the most recent version of it.
I feel so stupid. That's the name of the show. But yes.
Okay.
It's Monarch. I'm
all of you yelling at Jim.
I'm an idiot.
I got to it. I thought you were discussing some other thing. That's fine. So please continue. So Monarch.
I'm sorry, Godzilla. I'm sorry. So they know. We meet at least one character. Maybe that's our main character. I don't know how ensemble it will be.
Mm-hmm.
And we find it.
It's a heist. We got to have an ensemble.
They are a part of Monarch.
Okay.
And the warning comes down. We believe Godzilla is going to hit in this location, at or around this time. Oh, okay. Start mobilizing people and get the area evacuated, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Our character goes off to the side and on the sly meets with another character or two and says, "Okay, it's happening here. We can, if we get in, we go in with this crew." And we're going to go over here to the National Museum of MacGuffins, and we're going to get this. And basically, they're going to use Godzilla's attack as the cover for their heist.
Okay.
So think Hard Rain, but instead of rain and flood, it's Godzilla.
It's Godzilla, sure.
I love using Hard Rain as my framework for things. It's the dumbest thing, but I love it.
Hard Rain.
I've done it. I've used it for a number of different movie pitches.
The 1998 Morgan Freeman Hard Rain.
And Christian Slater.
Yes, Christian Slater. I'm sorry.
And Randy Quaid.
Oh wow. And Ed Asner.
And Ed Asner.
Well, okay. I'm gonna let's go. I want to add a little element of like. Three Kings. So Three Kings, which is, I know it's a remake of something, I can't remember what it is off the top of my head, but it's getting the gold. Like, let's say that this
Who
group.
was that? That was George Clooney,
Spike Jonze, and Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was David O. Russell, I believe, was the writer on it, director. Anyway.
There you go.
This isn't the first time they've done this, that they have done cleanup at locations throughout the world, throughout time, and they have started like, hey, this attack happened here, there's a whole truck of gold that got tipped over, take the gold. And so that they have successfully stolen items for a while, and now it's time for the big score, as opposed to it being their first score. What do you think of that? So like,
a little more like Kelly's Heroes.
Sure. I was thinking something like
that. I am thinking of the right movie, right? Kelly's Heroes is Clint Eastwood, World War II. They go in to steal a bunch of gold because the Nazis are being driven out and they want to get gold and get paid.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You are correct. Yes.
Yeah.
They like Ocean's 11. Like Danny Ocean had a career being a crook with friends who are crooks. And now it's time for the big score. And so if they have been, let's say they've been doing cleanup on kaijus and monsterverse monsters for some time, but when they know Godzilla is going to show up, it's time for the big one, something like that.
Maybe.
It's still going to come down to the location specific. So are these dudes like drawing Godzilla to a location in order to heist it?
No, I don't think they're manipulating Godzilla. I think they're taking advantage of a situation.
Okay, like Hard Rain.
Yeah.
Okay. What should they steal? Gold, diamonds, something bigger than that. I mean, making it about the money is fine with me. I'm cool with it if it's just going to be gold, and if people want to draw comparisons to other gold heist movies like Kelly's Heroes. If
we want to tell an important Godzilla movie where rather than just a crazy one, we need to there needs to be allegory here. So I think what we could do is this entire thing could be symbolic of people taking advantage of disaster, of disaster relief, or even war profiteering.
Well, then I like where you're going here. Are you thinking contemporary, and this could be a commentary on, I know it's not, but of like earthquake relief, hurricane relief that we see in the modern setting, tidal wave, or that's tsunami stuff, or war profiteering? Do you want to go further back and make this, is this going to be Nazi gold?
No, I don't. I tend to prefer more contemporary
Okay.
stuff rather
Okay.
than historical pieces.
Okay. Yeah.
Um,
I am tempted to try to convince you to set this
in World War
in
II.
World War II and draw from that, but the
Well, I mean, it's a lot less allegorical than
yeah, then it's just literal.
yeah.
But that's fine. Let's move it to a modern day setting and dealing with, because in the heart of Godzilla is a commentary on post nukes being dropped on Japan.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's important for it to be allegorical. The best versions of Godzilla are very moving human allegorical stories.
Yeah.
So you're onto something by saying, like, talk about like Relief Foundation stuff like that.
Hmm.
Heist movies tend to be fun, so I don't
Yeah.
know how deep we want to
Right.
go
So
here.
that ends up being the problem. Is so wait. So are our characters
Taking
the war profiteers?
They're
Are our characters the villains?
are we the baddies? Therein
Maybe,
lies
maybe that's the wrong way to go.
therein lies the juggling act there.
Sure.
If we do want to say something, it is sort of moving it into a territory of commentary as opposed to escapism and like having fun with it. I'm not saying you're wrong to want to go there. I just think that there is a risk of us coming up with a very serious film.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong. I did just say Godzilla -1 is one of my favorite movies of recently.
Even the like the only other way, like we could try to frame our heisters as heroes if something like maybe we villainize Monarch. Maybe Monarch is the one who is actually directing God. Like they've figured out a way to lure Godzilla places.
Yeah, they've weaponized Godzilla.
Yeah, which they touched on in this latest franchise. I don't know where. As of this recording, I've not yet seen Godzilla X Kong.
I have.
I've
seen it.
So I can only go by the couple trailers I've seen, and it looks like they have moved away from any sort of message of anything, and it's just monkey knights versus monkey knights, and Godzilla's there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whereas the previous movies at least tried to have something about climate change and corporate greed and things like that. Like they were kind of heavy-handed and ham-fisted, but it kind of seems like the franchise has just given that up entirely for
just let's smash it up.
Let's do a CG fight.
Smash, smash, smash! They're running beside each other.
It's Godzilla and King Kong show.
Well, what do you think of that notion of if not Monarch, some sort of military organization has learned how to lure Godzilla to places in order to destroy, and discovering that and being like, how dare they do that? We can't stop them, so now let's take it. They're taking advantage, so we're going to take advantage of them. We know where this next attack is going to be. Well, if we know that information, shouldn't we be telling those people to evacuate? Okay, see, now I'm hearing the problematic nature of this idea.
Unless the heist is altruistic and the heist is to take away Monarch or whoever we decide, take away their power to lure or direct Godzilla.
Sure. They're going to steal the doodad.
Yeah.
That they've been the weapon, like the trigger, essentially. Yeah. That is pretty short-sighted of them to make it something so easily stealable.
Well, that would be our job as writers.
Yeah.
It's not easily stealable. You have to be super cool to steal it.
Yeah. Okay. Could the device?
Yep.
The goober, as Peter B. Parker would call it, could the goober be likened to the nuclear football? That it's the briefcase that has the nuke codes that the president carries around is the everything is contained within there. Something to that effect. So then it is something that can be heisted. It's not a giant computer. It's not an operating system. It's literally the codes. The thing, the device is briefcase sized.
Sure.
That sort of contrivance allows us to make it a realistic reason why it can be stolen, as opposed to it being an operating system or whatnot.
Fast and Furious and Mission Impossible, I think James Bond even, have all heisted operating systems.
It's true.
So I don't think it should be. Well, I think what it should be is it should be the lure. Whatever it's a thing that needs to be deposited in the place where Godzilla is to attack.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise, Godzilla's not really a part of it. Godzilla's a thing that's happening over there, while we steal the thing from
over there,
from the safe place.
Okay. Well, what about?
It could always be a dually coordinated thing. Like we have to get out there to get the lure, while you guys over here get the briefcase.
Yeah, I like that. I like the idea of like this. The more intricate the heist, the better.
Sure.
And if it's multiple fronts, let's say this. Okay. A lure. I'm going to give you 3. There's like the thing. It's the size of a car or
sure.
That is the lure. There's the football that it activates it, and then there's something like a Fort Knox location that houses all of the things. So then it's a matter of the on location, what Godzilla is being drawn to. We have to get that. We have to get the briefcase, and we have to make sure there's none left over for them to use ever again. What do you think of that? So then it's a 3-point attack, 3-point heist. All pieces have to be moving at the perfect in synchronicity. Something's going to go wrong. Rob 3 banks at once, Ocean 11 style.
I don't mind that it's 3 points. I don't care for what that third point
one,
is.
like the collection of the lures.
Yeah.
Okay. It can't just be one lure, can it? Because when Godzilla...
Well, no, it would get destroyed, right? It would get destroyed each time.
Yeah, that's why...
But once they have your briefcase, your atomic football, no, your kaiju football, no, that MacGuffin, any other thing they make is useless.
I got an alteration on the pitch then. Okay. It would appear, because heist movies have twists and turns for the audience, it would appear that the third part of the plan is to secure or rob or get into the collection, the Fort Knox collection, like this, the collection of all the lures. It would appear that the plan is get the football, get the doodad at the location, and get the location, the where all the collection is, right? But ultimately, the final step of the heist is to put the lure at the location and activate it so Godzilla shows up and levels it.
Okay.
So then it's all the lures are destroyed at once by Godzilla himself or herself, themself. What do you think of that?
Itself, yeah.
What do you think of that?
That's not bad.
Yeah. So twisting and turning for the audience to make assumptions of what they think is happening, only to be like, oh shit, they're blowing up the whole building.
And that's fun in that Godzilla is now in on the heist. Godzilla doesn't necessarily. Yeah. Godzilla's not necessarily waiting for the cue, gives the wink, and then roars and flames out the stuff. But
give me the green light.
Yeah.
Give me the green light. Yeah.
That's not bad. It occurs to me, real quick, pivoting over here. What about a heist where our characters have to steal something from Godzilla?
Oh. Well, okay.
There's a lot less there. Like heist movies usually need there to be all kinds of security to get around and things like that. Stealing something from a monster is less a heist and more like an adventure kind of thing. That doesn't mean, now that I say that, seeing a cool heisty version of Odysseus.
Godzilla's blinded by nobody.
Yeah. Would be kind of cool.
Steal the gold from Smaug.
Yeah. Because that one major reason I suggest that is because it incorporates Godzilla a lot more directly. As opposed to having it be this sort of environmental X factor.
Well, the demand did state that monster stomping around, people trying to stop monster, or like that's part of the banality of this franchise. It's just the same thing over and over again. Do you fear that it risks in like that it's a risk that much it just would go into that territory. Because like I'm hearing you. I think that there's something to part of this being going to Godzilla as opposed to waiting for Godzilla to come to us.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I think there's something to that.
Were we supposed to go? Was the suggestion maybe hoping for I'll pivot again and just go, we'll say Godzilla's, whether it's on Earth or another planet, Godzilla, rather than stomping around a bunch of things, goes to like a far off planet where there are a bunch of other kaiju.
Oh, Godzilla.
Because it exists in the larger world of Godzilla.
Go on.
There are giant kaiju all out in the universe.
Yes.
Where they're not necessarily giant.
So Godzilla's Danny Ocean putting a team together?
Yes, he's putting a team together of other kaiju to pull off a kaiju heist.
Kaiju heist. Oh no, I don't think that's what the demand is. But
that feels real Saturday morning cartoon.
Getting the
concept.
Hey, I'm getting the band together. I'm getting the gang together, and we're gonna go heist Gore Block 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't break into Gore Block 7. Nah, without you, I can't. You think we need one more? Let's get one more.
Yeah.
Oh, me and Kong have history, but he's the best man for the job.
Yeah, you're picking it up.
Two of the heads of
King Ghidorah.
They get along, but the third one has a problem with a past with Mothra.
Yeah,
I ain't working with Mothra. You can't make me. And that's the one who betrays the group.
Yeah,
like, oh, third head, how could you do that? I'm the dumb one. What's the lady kaiju that's part of this that they all
Mothra?
Mothra's a female.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's where we are supposed to go with this. All right. Well, here we go. This is where we are now. We didn't have to go down the street.
Camera,
but now
quickly, do your giant flying turtle spin. Steven Soderbergh presents Godzilla.
Godzilla 11.
Yeah.
All right. Why don't we take our break here?
Okay.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break here, and we'll come back and keep beating out this idea. Here are some messages from 6.5 Media.
It'd be so much fun because it would just be monsters roaring and subtitles. I got a job. Only you can help out. You know I'm out of the game.
Too much reading in that. No, it'd be perfect. They would just be in the tradition of real Godzilla movies. Yeah. You'd have to read subtitles the whole time. That's hilarious. Oh my God. Hello, we're back. Okay, I have a couple thoughts. Going back to our heist movie, who are our thieves and who are the people trying to stop them.
Okay.
So like we've already laid down some track that I think works, that if they are somehow involved with the government, or maybe they are mercenaries of sorts, or like they find out about, like let's say it's one of the scientists involved in the creation of it realizes, oh, what have I done? I must stop this now. I'm going to be the financier to hire this group to then pull off this job.
I think they could be like a secondary. Here's to that end. I think our Danny Ocean character, just to use that as sort of our model.
That's perfect vernacular.
Names, yeah. I think we frame it like he is wanting to do a money heist, right? Like we're gonna get rich, we're gonna get ours because they're all involved in Monarch, right, or the military, whichever one we want to go with. They're not necessarily high up on the totem pole. They're high enough that they get these early alerts and they have a little bit of command.
Okay.
But they're connected. They're connected to all sorts of things. Finds this out, starts putting people together, and it's the promise of money. One of the twists that we find out, and maybe our Matt Damon character or our Brad Pitt character finds out a little ways in, hey, like you're really they find out that he's not really doing this for the plan isn't the money here, that he has another an
ulterior
ulterior motive. That's
Yeah.
what it's called.
Yeah.
And he finds out, the ulterior motive is to actually unhook Godzilla from this
Weaponization.
Yeah.
Okay, I like this. Let me try add another layer to this. What if it does start as like our halfway point in the movie is a money heist?
Sure.
That they actually pull it off and get gold. Like they figure out some way to utilize the predictability of this system to pull off a money heist and be like, hey, that was fun. We did it. We got away with it. A little bit of danger here and there. We nearly got stomped by a giant lizard while the military's trying to blow it up. But we came away rich. Cool. You want to do this again sometime? Yeah, call me up. Like,
I see what you're saying. That actually, that's sort of what I was suggesting. But instead of saying it's one job followed by another, it's Godzilla Ocean, and Danny Ocean. I don't Danny Ocean, Danny Zilla. He planned, like, it's all sort of for him. It's all one big heist. He uses these guys with the motivation of
the money.
You're going to get this money that Godzilla would have destroyed, and that's your payoff. While that's happening, he has a little side thing where he goes and steals the lure, preventing, like, Godzilla does enough destruction, but leaves and sort of undermines the government, the organization's plan. And he now has the goober.
Yeah.
The goober, the MacGuffin, and the
collection.
Yeah, the collection. So he now has the goober. The organization is now freaking out a little bit, but our crew is initially like, "We did it! Good job, everybody! Hey!" And then, like, that's when Brad Pitt tells everyone, "No, Danny's not done.
Yeah.
He's doing this other thing." He's like, "I didn't want to involve you guys in this part." And like,
we're involved.
Yeah, sort of. It comes around that they're not just greedy. They're like, no, we want to help, and hooray!
Okay, I mean, I would imagine some of them are like, no, I was only ever in this for the money. I'm not in it for your revolution.
Sure, yeah, right. If there's 11 of them, there's plenty we can have go different ways. So then they go. So then some of them agree to help, and that's when we get our fourth and fifth act, essentially, of now
Reverse heist,
getting them. Another mini heist, and then reverse heist, because they still have to steal the MacGuffin.
Right.
They have to steal the computer that operates the lure.
The briefcase, football, whatever it might be. Yeah. To escalate from heist one to the subsequent heist or heists, then I would say
I guess for that first heist, maybe stealing both is a part of it.
Well, I'm going to say no to that because I'm going to suggest that if it's first just a singular money, but it's also the lure heist, then the second one to escalate it is
there you go
the football and the location.
Two heists at once.
Yeah, exactly. And officially two heists at one, as opposed to a second heist hidden in the first one.
Yeah.
Because
so the first one is a heist within a heist.
Yeah.
And the second one is two heists at once.
Yeah, perfect. Yes. And the reason for it to have to play out this way is as soon as heist one is complete and they pull it off, they're going to get away with the money, but now red alert. We've lost the lure. Like, Godzilla is literally out of our control now.
Yeah.
So now the bad guys are going to have to close in on our heroes, like whatever government, soldier organization or whatnot that's going to have to be chasing them from this point on. The Rock to Vin Diesel and the gang.
Yeah. So do they shut down that operation early?
How so? Which operation? The first?
Because now that I'm thinking about it, why would our Danny Ocean want to steal the lure without the MacGuffin now? The only reason to steal the lure is to stop Godzilla from destroying the thing the organization was wanting him to destroy.
Well, I'll go back to my suggestion that he's actually going to use it. That he didn't just steal it to have it. He stole it to use it to destroy the rest of them. To make Godzilla part of the plan. Sure.
Yeah. Forgot about that bit. Thank you.
That's good. It's good.
And that makes sense because they're normally destroyed in the process.
Yeah.
And so this is his only way to get one unbeknownst to anyone else.
Right.
Because they assume it's destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Did we discuss why he's doing this? Like, why is our main character doing this? I had made mention a moment ago that he maybe who is involved in the initial scientific work of this, thinking about like there's more like Godzilla movies tend to deal with morality and ethics anyway, like the humanity's impact on the environment or the consequences of unchecked scientific experimentation, right? Like there's usually some element of that.
Our main character's father or grandfather developed this technology. It's basically an invisible fence, out like for dogs, but for Godzilla
To contain,
and it was
Godzilla.
meant to protect people.
Oh, I
and
see.
it has been weaponized, and so he, as the son or grandson, sort of in not following, but like
feels a responsibility.
Yeah.
Do you why make it a dad or a grandfather? Why not just make this guy the scientist who was involved with the creation of it?
Because they wouldn't let him anywhere near. They stole his thing.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. I can see that this is some sort of like legacy revenge.
And there's I don't know how many Godzilla movies actually deal with legacy and family and stuff, but it seems to be a common enough thing.
At least of recently, the 2014 one definitely had familial story elements.
Mm-hmm.
The follow-up one had Millie Bobby Brown and Ron Livingston as a family element, as well as the deaf girl and Rebecca Hall, mother and daughter relationship. Kong is alone, seeking a family, so there's some familial elements here. Okay, like it's a legacy revenge scenario here. I want to add another character into the mix here. If our science character, the one who launches this whole plot, I want to have a military character who also is like aggressive and rough and whatnot, but one of the good guys. Like I'm in to help you. Essentially, if you think of like Jackson and remember Kurt Russell's name from Stargate, but the nerd and the muscle, like that it's a two people have a stake in this.
Okay.
I just want to add some more characters to the team here, and if there's a subplot of
bring up Kurt Russell in Stargate is very specific because he has an ulterior goal. He's secretly given the goal of going through the gate and blowing up who's ever over there. And in going over there, he is changed. He's like, no, I'm not going to blow these people up. Is that what you're wanting to do? Or
no,
you just meant a tough guy?
We have a science angle. I want a military angle because the tradition of Godzilla is science and military. That there's government people that bang, bang, shoot, shoot, and there's scientific people who are thoughtfully trying to understand it. And those worlds collide as Godzilla's doing his thing. So I wanted to create, if the two people at the top of the heist are scientist who has a legacy revenge kick.
I didn't see him as a scientist. My apologies. I saw our Danny Ocean character. His father or grandfather was the scientist. He is not. That is a part of how and why he wasn't. Like it's why they don't see him coming. Because he didn't follow in his family's footsteps in the same way.
Okay.
So I guess I already see a pretty big military angle on it and on this character. That's how he has this information and access to this stuff to begin with, because he is in the organization. He's a part of it. He's already a stormtrooper on the Death Star.
Okay. I was seeing it more as he's a paper pusher, a pencil pusher who's involved from like the science side of it. which was then why I was creating a secondary character who has
Sure.
a military angle in here, who is if our main character is the guy who's smart enough to pull this off and understands the science of it as well as can bang bang shoot shoot shoot. Okay, we can simplify it down to that, but I think that there might be an opportunity to expand some of the things we're talking about if there's the brain who I'm thinking of going to Godzilla -1. Our kamikaze pilot, he's not the brain, he's the muscle, he's the gun guy.
Sure.
And then the older guy who organizes the whole attack on Godzilla, he's the brain, and they were friends on the boat together.
Sure.
I'm not trying to replicate that
No.
exactly. I'm just thinking there could be something to creating the brain and the brawn who both have similar goals. Take down Monarch, stop utilizing Godzilla as a weapon.
I see what you're saying. Maybe I'm just too attached now to Ocean's 11.
Mm-hmm.
I like our central character being the creator of this heist,
mm-hmm.
and kind of having it all together, and the people he recruits come around.
Okay. Fine. Cool. I won't fight.
I know that makes him sort of both. I don't. Yeah, he's not really like a science guy. He knows enough on how to make this stuff work.
Mm-hmm.
So he, like, a couple of people he would recruit would be whoever that would need to be.
If he's more demolitions, bang bang shoot shoot, that's fine. I'm not going to fight on trying to split the character up anymore. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do.
Let's use a different thing. I see him more as a Baron Munchausen.
So he just believes he's sick all the time?
Yeah.
Okay. Wrong Munchausen?
No, that's the right one.
Okay, cool. So he's got a cold. It's from all the hard rain.
So in Baron Munchausen himself was a very capable character,
mm-hmm.
who then assembled a team of extraordinary people with extraordinary abilities around him.
Yes.
That's sort of how I'm trying to portray this character.
I'm in. The Danny Ocean angle is perfectly fine.
Okay.
That he would need to hire muscle and brains and everything around him to put his team together. I'm cool with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Giving any number of these characters that he recruits in history as well. I'm just trying to create some complexity within the character, motivating him as the son of what have you.
Sure.
But also having him part of the organization. Is he just slowly working his way to this opportunity? Like, he's been.
That's my thought. Yeah.
He's had this plan for 15,
mm-hmm.
20 years. Okay, I could dig it.
And maybe one of the people that he brings in is an older computer expert,
mm-hmm.
Who was.
I worked with your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was yeah.
Okay, I want to create a threat for them then, and Godzilla is obviously the force of nature that they're dealing with throughout this. I think there should be from a threat from some sort of security military force that gets their number essentially, or that they are dodging through the course of this plot that eventually they have to have some sort of confrontation with in the midst of the finale. Speaking familial, if he's been going by his mother's name this whole time, and when the halfway point is tipped, that's like, oh my God, that's this person. That's not the name that they've been using. It's this person. Having that crash zoom in on one of the characters who said, I went to college with him. Sorry, go to the familial.
That is a very funny callback to a terrible movie.
Nobody.
That is a callback to Ambulance.
Thank you. Yes.
But you ruined it. I'm out.
Oh no. having the threat of some sort of, we need a human bad guy is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I can see that. So it's a guy who is higher up in this program,
mm-hmm.
and he's still kind of a middleman.
Maybe like one of the heads of the security department, when they plant it, they leave people on site to monitor it so that civilians don't get near it or something like that.
Oh, I was going to actually have them in the control room, in the command room,
mm-hmm.
and after Godzilla attacks and does all the things, they're like, good job, everyone. Another successful operation.
Yeah.
And he's in the background because he's not high enough. He's like, but the signal didn't go out the way it normally does.
Oh,
That like
I'm curious.
yeah, right. So they're like, what are you talking about, Jenkins? The operation went fine. You're quibbling over details.
Yes.
That's where I'm thinking. That's where I'm going.
I want to launch that character earlier, but you were right.
He can be like, we can meet him really early on.
I'm suggesting the same thing you are,
yeah.
but happening it sooner. That before the midpoint big heist, get the thing during the Godzilla attack.
Okay.
The very first thing that is stolen tickles the curiosity and suspicion of this new character. Hey, we had this one little thing happen on that most recent operation. That timing was off. That's fine. It went off without a hitch. No, the timing was off. And then when the first heist happens, that validates. I know you guys didn't believe me, and I've gone rogue in my investigation, but that doodad was stolen. Like, basically creating this antagonistic threat really early if our Danny Ocean character has to take one small thing in order to pull off the first heist. You kind of get what I'm going for?
I'm the time. I'm not understanding the timing.
At the very beginning of the movie, when
Yes.
we meet Danny.
Yep.
Before the plot the heist can even begin to unfold.
Okay.
Danny steals something small. The last piece.
You want a bad guy chasing him from
the beginning. From the beginning, yes. So that there is a threat, even albeit small, of being caught from the very beginning. And if Danny pulls off a small thing, I need this floppy disk or whatever, and only one person acknowledges that little thing is missing, and thus starts the ball rolling of the cat and mouse. I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't find any reason to tell me no. That's what that head shake was.
Mostly, yeah.
Like, I don't see the purpose of this, but I have no reason to tell you not to put it there.
Yeah.
We can't introduce this bad guy in the first heist. That's what I'm saying.
Why not?
But you're right. I just gave you a rule you can break. You're all right.
No, I'm not. I don't wait, how's that a rule?
To introduce such an antagonistic character like halfway through a movie, you can do it. I think it's more interesting to have the cat and mouse game begin sooner. Like if we don't meet Andy Garcia until the halfway point in Ocean's 11, he's less interesting. He just becomes this like superficial threat.
But he's not on to Danny and crew until then.
As soon as he sees Danny's in Las Vegas, he's onto him.
Okay.
It's
fine.
Okay.
I guess when you said introducing the character, I'm like, yeah, we would meet him early. We would see how persnickety he is about the rules and how Hawkeye he is over everything.
Yes.
And then his suspicion wouldn't go off until the end of that first heist. While all of his peers are celebrating, he's saying no.
Okay.
That was my thinking.
Yes.
And if this character who is supposed to be so hawk-eyed is so early on already zeroing in, I guess I was wondering how and where the heist, like it's no longer a heist anymore, like it's just a chase.
I agree. You're right. I think we're on the same page. Okay. I think that having them tip off at the big heist, just showing how I use the word persnickety early on, we already know this guy's gonna be trouble because he so catches every detail.
And like he can see like adjacent details to what our crew sets up to do and stuff like that. And there can even be like little things like all the teams have to radio in as Godzilla comes in toward the city and one team radios in late. What? Why were they late? Like,
immediately.
We're here, sir. Right? Like there can be all kinds of things like that. As far as having Danny Ocean start it by stealing a thing, we can do that too. Like so maybe that's another reason why he's already on high alert.
Right.
I guess it just started sounding more like Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, and I you're right. We shouldn't go there. I think you're correct. Just as long as we introduce him soon, I think we have it. We have it. It's introduce this guy who's very particular.
In Act 4 and 5, he is actively like
on their heels.
like something is like no, double high alert. No, something is very wrong.
And okay,
So that's where he becomes the true active antagonist.
As soon as the first heist is complete and he's on full alert, this character's on full alert. Initially, I was going to pitch a woman, but whatever.
It can be. I apologize. I default to saying guy.
That's fine. I was really going to initially pitch that it's Danny's sister and make it a family thing, but that's fine. No apologies necessary. I forgive you, and so is the audience. Oh, great. I lost my train of thought. No, okay, here it is. Once the main heist happens, the first heist happens, and it's fully on obvious that this persnickety character is like, nope. To put that character hot on the heels, they work their way backwards, and every step of the way that we saw our protagonists going through, persnickety gets through there all the way to the first one that starts the movie that we didn't even think about. That the audience will go, oh, at the very beginning when Danny did that one thing, that was actually part of this. Oh, cool. Oh, wow. And it shows how immediately, even beforehand, Danny has set off to do this. And now the audience halfway through with persnickety gets to go back and see some of those pieces put together. It's like, oh, cool. And now that persnickety's gone all the way back, now they can go all the way forward to now get hot on the heels of our heroes.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. Persnickety. And Danny. We've devolved. Is everyone else imagining the Ocean's 11 crew trying to steal from Godzilla now? Is that what everyone's doing?
Yeah.
All right, so moving forward, we'll now call him Dom and The Rock. Okay.
Family. Godzilla family.
I'm going to catch you some bitch. These are just labels at this point. That's fine. Okay, so do you on board with the notion that after this is also... Oh, okay. First heist happens, and now we'll go back to our heroes, and it's the revelation of, hey, we got the gold. The revelation of, this wasn't about the gold. What were you doing the whole time?
Yeah.
What was all this? Leader of our group?
Right, yeah. They do the whole, this was your payday, don't give me that, and all that. And like, what are you guys fighting about? Yeah. We should be celebrating.
And then comes in the morality question of like, you guys got paid, I don't need you from this point on.
Yeah.
Hey, we're involved, whether you like it or not. I'm
me
out.
and Science Dad here, we got another plan. We'll all... if you got another job, we're in. This one doesn't pay. It just pays in good feelings.
Yeah, well, I mean, as silly as this dialogue is, I think that's the scene where everyone...
that's the sort of the subtext.
Sure, and the team comes... It's the one holdout is like, I don't want to. And then it's no, it is the right thing to do. Once it's explained the whole purpose of this, like, they all are going to come around, or maybe not all of them, but come around as like, this is the moral and ethical thing to do, is to put an end to this.
If we really wanted to drive it home as well, like every character could have their own little story. Like it all starts, they're all super on board because Godzilla destroyed their homes, and then at this point,
we hate Godzilla.
Yeah, and then at this point, why would you want to free him? And then it all comes out, and it all sort of is revealed, and they all realize, oh, Godzilla destroyed our homes because this organization drove him there.
Yeah.
And so now it's, it's not Godzilla's fault. It's the organization.
Damn the man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having the turnaround of the team to be like, hey, you got another job? We're in. I think that's fun. I think that's a fun, like, unite the team under one common goal now. And certainly all of them having backstory that links them to the organization or Godzilla, or certainly all these people have a personal stake. It doesn't have to be 11. I think 11 might be too many. 7, whatever. Like,
sure.
Whatever number we decide on, giving everybody subplots.
And I think, in my mind, whatever the number is, a third of them are from inside the organization. There are other people that Danny has found that have loose morals and are willing to do this stuff. A third are from outside the organization. And are just specialists, and then a third are in on the secondary heist.
Yeah. That's there you go. And now we have our dual heist. We have to get we have to hit the location and the football at the same time. which is fun because now we're dealing with like planning a heist.
By the way, actually, that's how you convince the last guy, or maybe the second to last guy.
Yeah.
Is he's not in at all. I'm not in for any of that not selfish stuff.
Uh-huh.
And he hears them planning, and there's the thing they just can't do. Oh, how are we gonna do that? We're just gonna have to make do. It's like, you can't do that without my thing.
I got the one thing we need. No one makes a cream pie like I do.
Yeah.
So going to heist tropes and
Yep.
moving away from Godzilla tropes. If in this third element of the location, the football location,
Mm-hmm.
is a love interest of that character's past. Like if the end, like how are we going to get through the door of this figurative location to get to the football? We've tried everything. We had this and this and this and this, and it's like me and this person have
Sure.
a romantic history. That's how we get through the door. Ooh.
Maybe what? So instead of it being there at that, what if it's that person? There's a misdirect,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe not a misdirect. I think like most of the crew thinks this dude is out.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of the people who doesn't want to continue because he like, oh, that's too messy.
I got
for
my
me.
gold. I'm out.
Yeah, I don't know how to. Basically, a point comes where Danny Ocean, he's over
It's
get
Dom now.
sorry Dom Ocean.
Yeah.
That sounds that sounds wrong. He's going to get the briefcase, right? He's going to get the control mechanism. So he's back because he has enough rank to get through certain doors.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in that part of the heist. And there would be a scene like he's walking down a hall or he has to go through a certain place. And Persnickety, who's already on, like, they know he's responsible, but has no, like, no one believes them enough to say, like, okay, we'll put a red alert out for this person,
Uh-huh.
but they're looking for him. So there'd be a scene like, oh no, Persnickety's going to catch Dom. And they're about to turn a corner, and our character that we thought had left comes around and is like, hey, what are you doing? And like, turns out they were together. Their old relationship was with Persnickety.
Ooh, I didn't even see it coming. I'll take it.
Yeah, which allows Dom to get past.
Thank you for committing to Dom. From this point going forward, we are now going to use Gone in 60 Seconds characters, and now
We're just going to switch every 5 minutes.
It'll be Memphis Reigns from going on.
Okay.
We go back to Danny. It's fine. No, I like that the person who is out, like creating that romantic connection, like a romantic history. That plays more in the heist genre. It's certainly not part of the Godzilla genre, but I think that's part of the fun here.
And having it be directly with Persnickety, with the direct villain.
Yeah.
Which I like what that's going to do. It's going to fluster that character.
Hey, what are you doing here?
Yeah, like that. So they're going to be like partially into it, but also super suspect.
Mm-hmm.
What are you? You shouldn't. You can't be here.
Yeah.
How, what? like that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that could be a lot of fun.
Cool. I want to add another element here.
Keep going.
Keep going. Okay. Just.
Here I go. Inserting one before you do. The whole betrayal, the twist betrayal kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the people who decides not to continue, and maybe they're super amicable, like, nah, sorry, I got a family to think about.
Yeah.
That's how Persnickety finds out for sure that it's Danny Dom Ocean.
Memphis Danny Don. No, Danny Dom Memphis.
Mojo Dojo Casa House.
This other person who backed out betrayed the team.
They turn on the team. They're like, by the way, so and so's doing a heist on you.
Maybe you should check out. I can't say what it's going to be, but maybe just maybe.
Or does the betrayal need to be from within the heist? It needs to be someone who, I don't know where's the rule about the
betrayal.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time in heist movies, the betrayal is a misdirect anyway. Like to go to Ocean's 11, which should be the prototype for all modern heist movies at this point. The betrayal seems like Danny screwed up, so he can't be involved in the heist, and then he turns up in the elevator anyway, and Matt's like, "Whoa, why did you do what?"
Sure.
It's like, we were just testing you. You could have just asked. Jeez. So having a betrayal on the team, I think, would be there's something to that.
And what was that? Butterfly spectrum. Butterfly spectrum.
Oh, the
not monarch.
kaleidoscope.
That's kaleidoscope. Thank you.
Butterfly spectrum.
Kaleidoscope. In that the betrayal. Actually, wasn't there? There was more than one.
There was
betrayal.
a couple.
There's a
betrayals.
bunch of betrayals.
Yeah.
Then I won't bother describing it.
Yeah. Well, having a betrayal. Let's put a pin in that. I want to create. We need a fight sequence. We have this amazing ticking clock for the finale where Godzilla's like leveling an entire building while they're trying to like finish the job. Kind of like I think there's a lot of fun there, but part of that is having a good like. We have a light bulb.
I don't know if I don't know if it'd be fun. What if one of the things the scientists that I'm sorry, what was his name? Memphis Danny Dom Ocean.
Yep. Frank Sinatra.
Danny.
We'll just stick with Danny.
Does is what do you think about the idea that they're able to reverse the command? So they're able to take the lure and turn it back on from there, which turns the device. I don't know where I'm going with that.
Well, initially, you had said something that I think you're coming back to without realizing it. That this device was originally created as a fence, as a deterrent, and then it was reversed to be a pull, to be a lure. And I think that like initially, this device was created by scientists to keep Godzilla away. Like whatever sort of like force field it created was then turned into a magnet, so to turn it back into a lure or a fence. Does that help you?
No, because he needs to be lured. So because you said Godzilla's the ticking clock.
Yeah.
I realized in the second half he's not so much the ticking clock. So I was wondering how to turn that clock back on the second half.
Well, they are activating this thing to get Godzilla to come and destroy the entire facility that builds the lures. That's the final location of this movie.
So, okay. So the Godzilla ticking clock is persnickety, with permission or not, manages to somehow get the lure turned back on beforehand.
Well, they want it turned on. Our team wants to go to this location, activate the devices, and get Godzilla.
But not before they are ready for it.
So what? Persnickety is going to draw Godzilla to them.
Organization.
Yeah.
Monarch thinks the lure has been destroyed. So turning the device back, using the device to turn the lure on won't work. It's destroyed. Who cares? It's done. It's gone. Persnickety does not believe that.
Right.
I'll prove it. I'm going to turn it back on now, and if Godzilla turns around, I'm right. And so Persnickety does that before they get the lure to the collection.
Oh, okay.
Thus rushing our
I got you.
Heroes' plans.
Yeah, this doesn't happen immediately after that first fight. This is well after the fact.
Yeah.
Like, okay, our guy who left, our character who left, who comes back and is like, hey, former romance, what are you doing? What are you here? I've put this all together. Ding! Activated. Oh, that was too soon. And now there's this race against. Yeah. Now the lure's been activated, and it's not on location yet. It's like, we're on our way there. What just happened? It turned on.
Yeah. and then Monarch headquarters starts going crazy.
Bing,
like,
bing.
Why is Godzilla turning around?
And why we have a device on the radar? It's the Reykjavik device just turned back. I thought it was destroyed. Persnickety was right. Tick 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 tick. Okay, good. I like that. Yes. A fist fight. I want during.
You wanted a fight.
Creating another subplot type character. I had referenced a security force that watches the lure after it's placed.
Okay.
Like having an on the ground presence.
Okay.
Creating if we're using Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Easy. Yeah. Absolutely.
You want the muscle. Like having a.
That's why Danny's team, when they're supposed to check in, that's why they're late, because they were actually replacing the Vanguard team.
Okay, and now they have a grudge as well, so that in the final building sequence we can have a fist fight against.
So they survive, and they report back to HQ we were knocked out
Mm-hmm.
by some other people. Why don't they react?
Okay. Essentially, I'm just trying to create a grudge match that we can pay off in the finale. That while X, Y, and Z is happening, we also have a throwdown going down between one of our hero characters and a grudge from a muscle, like a big military meathead that needs to be punched a lot. So stealing like security outfits might not be the right way to go, but basically someone who is made a fool of that
shows back up.
If I hate to go here, but think of O'Neill in the 1998 Godzilla, that dope that we kept seeing over and over again, who screwed up time and again, the military guy who like gets all the credit for killing Godzilla in the end. Not better than that, not that better than that, but having just some. This is a C plot. I'm talking real small here. Just I was evoking.
We can get something. Nothing really. Striking center is coming to mind.
And I don't think we need to flesh that one out too far. I evoked Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Indiana Jones method of always having a muscle that Indiana Jones has to fight. And that's usually as simple as the guy at the plane, the big thuggy guard, the guy in the tank.
Yeah.
Like just some
but
sort of...
But that's usually a guy who's only there for the one scene. I guess Temple of Doom, the guy shows back up.
And Crystal Skull as well. There's...
Bad example.
I know, but it's the guy who gets killed by the ants. He pops up a couple times because he's.
I don't even remember that guy.
He's the guy who gets killed by the ants. Okay, what other? Anything else we need to check off on the box here? Like,
as far as a heist goes, no. Godzilla is our clock, but we didn't talk about what he does or why they have to heist in to get the diamonds or whatever. But I feel like there's a bit of very broad, obvious reason because they got to get in to steal the diamonds / gold. Otherwise, Godzilla's going to crush it,
right? And
no one can have it then because everyone knows once gold and diamonds are crushed, they're not worth anything.
They're so big. Well, yes, that's he atomic breaths them into oblivion.
I mean, it doesn't actually have to be a resource like that. It could be something more fragile. It could be a computer databank that has a bunch of cryptocurrency. I don't know.
Ooh, crypto. Let's date this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying there's some Godzilla isms that we haven't addressed yet.
We haven't talked about. Fun Godzilla stuff like derailing a train. We didn't create a set piece for how or why he shoots his flame breath.
His atomic breath.
We didn't address those sort of Godzilla moves, the Godzilla isms like that.
I want to throw some out there. Having at least one other Godzilla monster in this. Well,
okay, so that was something I was avoiding for a lot of it because the demand was a Godzilla movie.
Okay.
And not all Godzilla movies are kaiju fights.
Sure.
Right? Like the original Godzilla, Godzilla Minus Zero, often where the kaiju is the antagonist, it's the kaiju versus humans. And that is sort of the angle I was imagining here.
Okay. I was going to contrive a reason why we would see Godzilla fire off his atomic breath. But if you think we should go just Godzilla's the threat here.
There's decent enough reasons and ways we can get him to do it on screen. Monarch, in their weaponizing of this and turning a defensive situation into a situation where they take advantage. It probably shouldn't be Monarch. I think Monarch is supposed to be good guys.
They're supposed to be the good guys.
So the organization.
Yeah.
The organization, they have their own troops on the ground for this, and they have it under the guise of defense, right? Under the guise of we're here to try to corral Godzilla and to drive him away. That's why we have troops and tanks and jets and helicopters.
Okay.
That's why we have all this stuff. But that's their reason to the people, to the governments and stuff like that, why they're there. But it's all there actually to make sure Godzilla attacks and damages the right things.
What they deem to be the right thing.
So, we want Godzilla to make sure he knocks down this building. We're going to put an artillery piece on top of this building, or we'll fly some helicopters around here until he gets angry enough and shoots his atomic breath to blow this apart.
Okay. You really got to piss Godzilla.
That doesn't feel great?
Not, well...
Okay,
it feels okay because Godzilla uses atomic breath in -1, and we don't question that he's shooting at planes. He'd get pissed off enough to do it there.
Yeah.
So there's no reason that can't work. I want to make a suggestion that we should have other kaiju in here based on how we started the movie, which is seeing a montage history of monster attacks and how the government has responded and adapted to this world that has kaiju attacks.
Okay.
So here's my suggestion. So, a midpoint moment of the movie or like a set piece of the movie is a different monster attack that then that Godzilla faces off, because Godzilla is meant to check kaiju. That's why Godzilla keeps the playing field clean by killing kaiju.
It depends on which
iteration you go with.
Yeah.
Having Godzilla fight that thing there might give a chance to just see him use the atomic breath. I don't know how exactly that works into our heist scenario.
That's my only problem with that, is it feels like we're going to put a mini Godzilla movie in the middle of this larger thing.
Let's try this. Okay, hear me out. We have our montage opening that shows Godzilla plus other monsters.
Yep.
The movie is just Godzilla. When we get to the finale, once the ticking clock is going off, all the lures are being destroyed. Like Monarch has a fail-safe activation and activates another kaiju. If we establish that they've been researching how to control these things anyway, does it seem out of the realm of possibility that they'd have another one ready to launch another weapon? If Mothra or some other thing, like fire the Mothra, and now Godzilla is fighting a thing while the building around them is being destroyed?
Maybe.
Or does that feel like a Deus Ex Monster? Monster Ex
Machina?
Yeah.
A little bit. Would it be going too far if the organization has actually has caged lots of other kaiju? Like that's one of the things they've done over there, and they just keep using Godzilla as the effective one, because they're
I shrugged. Sorry, I was like, I don't know, maybe.
my notion is Godzilla. They're using Godzilla as a monster, as an antagonist. Nowhere in the world sees Godzilla as a defender, as a thing that keeps in check other monsters.
Right.
Sure, the monsters fought in the past, but now Godzilla, having in the public perception defeated them all, just destroys cities. So I guess, do we want to make them villainous enough that someone pulls does the dead man switch of, if we can't win, no one can, they release all the monsters? Or is it, as our heroes inadvertently free Godzilla, they inadvertently free the other monsters?
I feel right now, I think we only need Godzilla. I don't mind putting the other monsters in the opening to show how we've got to this point, but I think this is just a Godzilla movie.
Okay.
And then just pissing him off to the point of firing his atomic breath is enough.
Cool.
And we could do that twice. We can
we
can see it happen once in the first heist and then again in the second. Because especially if he does it in the first heist and like shit kind of goes sideways when it happens, it just plants that early that if this happens again later, it's going to be devastating.
Mm-hmm.
So then we just check off Chekhov's Godzilla atomic breaths.
Chekhov's kaiju?
There you go. No, it's the breath specifically that I'm talking about here. Culmination of this, the second operation successfully destroys the lures. Godzilla is free.
Sure.
Godzilla's still pissed off.
Ooh, so the two Godzilla fights we really get to see. The first one, we see Godzilla destroy a city, and it's mostly orchestrated. Like, we see the people in the bridge right in the command center. Like they say, cue so and so, and a helicopter flies this way. Godzilla destroys this particular thing. Cue so and so. A barrage of tanks shoot him from over here, and so he does a tail whip that destroys this section of the city. And so we get to see all that the first time, and our heroes running under falling rubble to get their loot.
Do the thing, yeah.
We get to see all that. Because then also Danny Ocean and our crew, they also know the play-by-play, so they're able to like, and then they're going to try getting him to shoot this way, and so we get to see all that, and then the second time, our crew is he's lured there. There's no plan for Godzilla to be at the collection, so they're sending everything, and so that one ends up being a real fight.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's freaking 50 helicopters coming out of nowhere.
And we get to see Godzilla like actually take them down. And if we want to go back to the command center, like the reverse is happening, where it's no longer like this is working according to plan. Like send this in. We've already lost them. And like, all sorts of stuff like that.
Sweeping circular Michael Bay camera work.
Yeah.
And then in the end, Godzilla, our heroes win. I think
Godzilla is free.
Godzilla's free. Done being pissed off, like has leveled this location and just goes off into the ocean and goes to sleep. Is that
as Godzilla do?
As Godzilla do. We don't want to go so far as to kill Godzilla as often as has happened in more than one of the movies.
That wasn't my intent.
Good. Okay. I don't want to kill Godzilla either. We've Godzilla going into the ocean to hibernate somewhere and be left alone, especially because Godzilla's been lured to lots of places recently and is just tired. And that, truthfully, that actually could be part of this, that like noticing the wear and tear of Godzilla, like
he has scars.
Yeah. Because
I guess there's no reason we can't scar. He has amazing regenerative abilities, but there's no reason he couldn't have scars.
He hasn't had his Odin sleep in so long that he's looking pretty rough.
Gotcha.
So that when it ends, it's like, guys, I'm sorry, I just need to go take a nap. I'll talk to you in a few years. I gotta sleep.
Well, also we don't want to kill him because in what is probably actually a pretty loose allegory, he's not a contentious antagonistic element. The whole notion of corporations, basically what we're doing is it's the notion of corporations weaponizing climate change to their ends. And here we're letting the climate, as horrible as it is, or as dangerous as it is, not horrible, dangerous as it is, do what it's going to do.
We just need to stop manufacturing the problem.
Yes.
Like we as people have it within us to stop these disasters from happening to some degree.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. There you go. The allegory works, Jim.
Yeah, and we can even make devices that can protect us from the disaster. But there are certain forces that find profit in weaponizing and utilizing the disaster.
Bam. Hell yeah. And then our heroes get to go...
And all of this is basically just to reveal that the government has weather control technology. No.
See, I'm Roland Emmerich, and I believe this is true, that the government does have the ability to control the weather. Also, the moon is hollow.
Thank you, Roland Emmerich.
I don't know what that accent was, but there you go.
That's the classic Roland Emmerich accent.
Everyone knew that.
Yeah.
I thought I was hearing a clip. So then our heroes get to hang out on the beach, earning 20%. Is that what happens? That they
Yes.
Do we get an epilogue essentially of like, I do not want an epilogue that's like, hey, we like your work, we're going to recruit you back into Monarch. I don't want that. No. That is not happening. I just want what's our final moment before we?
Actually, no. I now that you said that, I'm going to break that rule.
Whoa.
No, actually, a bit of a epilogue that has that, because this, again, going back, this organization is not Monarch. Monarch is our good guy defense organization. Yeah. So having Danny and/or a scientist show up to Monarch with the lure and device technology
here
and be like, please utilize this properly, and Monarch being like, we're the good guys, we'll do it.
Yeah.
If I'm understanding Monarch correctly.
Yeah.
That I think is a good wrap up to that allegory and part of the story, and all of our thief characters, all of our heist characters do go on to happily ever. They're not recruited to organizations or whatever. We get to see them celebrate and whatnot. I
We
don't
did
have any hooks for a sequel.
No. I don't, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
I was not going to sit here and try to hash that out. I think I just wanted to wrap this up so that it worked on its own. It's the heist movies shouldn't have sequel bait into them, like sequel bait in them. Like the Ocean's 11 is a perfect movie on its own, top to bottom, beginning to end. It's over. Leave it at that. Yes, it does end with the goons driving behind Danny and Tess as they drive away, but that's not like to be continued.
I didn't remember that. They leave sequel bait in Ocean's 12.
Yeah, I know. No. Ocean's 12 ends with Catherine Zeta-Jones laughing in freeze frame. They're all playing poker, and she laughs in freeze frame. That's how it ends. That's not sequel bait.
At the end of the sequel bait.
Damn it.
Wait, I actually don't remember where that happens. I don't know if you're erasing a part or if you're just citing the part after the.
It's the whatever.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
It's a moo point.
It sure is. It's a mute point.
It's a mute point. Yeah. This is kind of fun. Is there anything else that we need to address before we kind of call it right now? I'm going to go back to the demand here.
I really wish I could think of more Godzilla tropes to make sure we cover.
Well, let me.
But I feel like we covered the heist pretty well.
I think
we
so
didn't
too.
necessarily detail the experts needed, and we didn't do too many. We didn't go into detail about the set pieces.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough of a sketch on the table. I think it's sort of we could hash it out even further if we wanted to. Like,
hopefully,
what are the countries they attack, or where do they send Godzilla? Like, where's the first heist? Location A, right? Like,
yeah.
Thinking about the Godzilla tropes, we talked about the scientific element of it, and the explanation of the science of Godzilla. I don't know if that's quite necessary in this because they understand Godzilla, but I do think talking about Godzilla hasn't rested. Well, these attacks seem to be weakening by even a fraction. The government response and the military involvement is always common because like officials are always struggling to find the best way to work with this monster threat, and this organization has found the quote unquote best way to deal with this Godzilla. So we did that. Morality and ethics is always a topic of conversation, and I think that's very much a part of this plot.
Yeah.
We're not dealing with other kaiju, so team up battles aren't going to be a part of this.
Nope. Yeah.
So that's usually a trope. I'm thinking. Sorry,
That's okay.
I'm just like cycling through Godzilla movies.
Oh man, that's so insidious. Like they control him, and then they can do things as much as like they can show footage of them actually hurting Godzilla because he just heals right back up.
Yeah.
What a bunch of jerks.
Godzilla is always a symbol of it's like some sort of metaphor, real world issues, which we very much did. I think that's you came up with a great idea there. Evolution and adaptation is often a conversation within Godzilla movies.
We're going with a different allegory.
Okay. Cultural significance. This is a very Americanized film. That's not to say we couldn't take this entire plot. Yeah, it's not to say we couldn't take this entire plot, set in Japan, make it a Japanese thing. Honestly, I would probably look at which first world country is the worst, like the most problematic when it comes to like climate stuff.
Sure.
Honestly, feels like America should probably be like a big target of this.
Yeah.
But I think we've checked off all the Godzilla threats, or the Godzilla tropes.
Okay.
Because like none other are coming to mind. There's certainly far smarter people, bigger, like more experts, more experts, more people who are more of an expert than I am in Godzilla's lore that are going to be like, you missed this and that.
Yeah, and ultimately that's what I would want to dive in. I would want to do is I'd want to dive a bit deeper into Godzilla's specificisms, specificities, specifics, and incorporate intrinsically into the things that happen. Those things, like they're doing this because not just any kaiju would facilitate this thing to happen. specifically Godzilla,
Yeah.
facilitates this to happen.
Well, I am curious, Pinky Girl at Cute Fuzzy Slipper Studios. How did we do? Like glancing over the demand once more. It's not just monster stops around, people scream and try to fight or fight with it. We did not do that.
Nope.
We certainly touched on some of those things of like a monster Godzilla stomps around and people are trying to control it and survive it. It's like all that is still here, but that's not the thrust of this movie. It is very much a heist movie.
Yep.
2 heists. Yeah.
Yep.
A heist and an inception, I guess. So yeah, I'm curious how we did, Pinky. I'm curious what the other listeners might think here. Did we meet this demand today? You got to hit us up and tell us if you agree or disagree. If we missed something, whatever, you can message us directly at studiodemandsit.com or on Instagram at studiodemandsit. If you're not already, you can subscribe to us on any podcatcher of your choice. And if you feel like giving us a little review, you can do that in your podcast app, and that really helps get the show out into the algorithm. Thank you for those who've been throwing reviews up. We've actually gotten quite a few in the past few months. You can also find us on YouTube and TikTok, where we post video content. Specifically on TikTok, you can find material not heard here on the show. And if you want even more, we have a Patreon. For a couple bucks a month, you can get the episodes early, as well as extended double-length episodes and movie commentary tracks. We did a commentary for Godzilla 98, if you want to check that out. And I also just want to say real quick for Patreon, you can sign up for free. You can subscribe to us and just show your love. It doesn't cost you anything to just just subscribe.
I didn't know that.
Yes, yeah. We do have some patrons who we love you guys for it. You can communicate with us on Patreon as well if you want to send us messages there, whether it's on our bonus content or just in general. But yeah, you can sign up free for our Patreon as well. So check that out. Jim has an announcement as well.
We now have a subreddit. We now are now at Reddit/r/Studio Demands It. So if you read it, you can come join us there.
Yeah.
Cool. And also, I didn't realize there was a link up for it. We have a Discord. I will be polishing up the Discord next as well, and there's a link to that on the studiodemandsit.com webpage.
Great.
I didn't even realize that link was there, but yeah, you can get to us from there as well.
Well, I mean, we can thank 6.5 Media for that.
And we do.
Thank you, 6.5 Media, for everything you do for us. Please check out the other 6.5 shows. Another Zelda podcast. Always got to recommend that since they are the godfathers of 6.5 Media. But that's going to do it for this episode. Jim.
TC.
You had to talk during this section.
I did.
Any final thoughts?
I cannot think and talk at the same time.
I have another demand right here in front of me.
Ooh.
That's Godzilla related. That we are now going to discuss for the bonus content.
Is it a Godzilla heist where Godzilla recruits other monsters to steal something from a giant kaiju planet?
It is, but they are stealing from a descendant of Kong himself on Kong Island.
Oh.
Kong Planet.
Kong Planet.
Kong Planet.
Isn't that Earth?
The demand that we are going to discuss here is who would win in a fight between Godzilla and Thor. So that's it for this episode. If you want to hear that, head over to our Patreon. I am TC.
I'm Jim.
And that's it. That's how the show is going to end right here.
Oh my God, who would win?
We're going to find out.